Hey guys, what's going on? This is Adarva here, and in this video we're gonna look at Paddle. Paddle is a payment integration platform which allows you to collect payment for all things softwares like SaaS, digital products, and all sorts of stuff. It also does the compliance stuff for you, so you don't need to worry about all sorts of weird things and just focus on your product, and Paddle will do all the payment stuff for you. So in this video, we're going to look at how you can use Paddle in your Next.js application, what are the things you need to know as a developer using the platform, and a lot more things. So let's get started. Okay, so we are at paddle.com. It says put your billing operations on autopilot, and one thing I really like about Paddle right off the bat is they have a developer section and they have a developer sandbox. So they have two types of dashboard. One is the regular dashboard, which is for live users, and one is a sandbox, which is for testing all sorts of stuff. So this has been a pain for me. Like if you are active on this channel, you know that in past videos, like in the Razorpay video, it has been a lot of pain for me because Razorpay does not have a test dashboard and it has a lot of workarounds, and that's really not a good experience for developers. So I think this is cool. They just develop a dashboard and they deploy two times, one for developers and one for anyone who is a live customer. And I'm going to do the setup in front of you. I have already tried this and I'm going to use a different email ID this time around. So yeah, what do you sell? I currently do not have any idea what I'm going to sell. So this is just going to be digital product or SaaS because this is just a tutorial. So yeah, but typically if you're using it in a live environment, you want to choose the real categories you are selling. So yeah, I have read and understood Paddle's terms and conditions. Continue. Now you need to fill in all the details. So I'm just gonna do that and I'm gonna be back. I'm not gonna waste a lot of time here. Okay, so it just asked me about my basic details, name, address and stuff. So in sandbox you can basically enter long details and it will just work, but in live environment you should be entering correct information because that will be checked. So we are in the dashboard. We will not be using this right now. We will be using it when we are actually building stuff. So let's get started. For that, we will create a Next.js application from scratch and we will go from there. So let's get started. Okay, so we are in our terminal. Now let's just create a Next.js application real quick. So Next, create next app, and I'm gonna name it Paddle YT. If you know how to create all of this stuff, just skip ahead. I'm pretty sure you know, but I just want to keep the flow so that if somebody gets lost, they know what if we change something before or not. So yeah, now let's go to Paddle YT and let's do cursor dot. Perfect. I like to use cursor nowadays. It's pretty good. I'm gonna throw this into a different window just in case. And now we are just gonna go to app into page.tsx, and I'm gonna remove everything from here. Don't need absolutely anything. And for now, I think we just need something like really minimalistic. Max width 7xl and mx auto, I think this should be 6. And yeah, let's leave it at that. I'm just gonna remove the image import, and now let's go back. I want to see how the payments actually work. So if we go to developers, we go to dev docs. It says that developer first platform for selling digital products, and now you can see all of the different things here. So one thing I think Paddle should improve is documentation. Documentation is all over the place. So like it's really, I like personally speaking, I don't think it's the best one, but I think it can be improved. So yeah, if we go to build, you can see a lot of different things here. Okay, and I think it's already falling apart. Okay, so it says create products and prices and stuff, and it says build overlay checkout. If we go here and it says it's something like this, and yeah, it says include and initialize paddle.js. It gives you a CD and stuff. So like it's really not that easy to figure out how to do stuff. But if you came to this page for the first time, you would think that there is no npm package for this, right? But actually there is an npm package, so we need to actually find it. So there is an npm package somewhere. So if you go to paddle.js, you can see, so include and initialize paddle.js. So now you have the command. Now this is the client side package. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go into my terminal. I'm gonna also shift the terminal there, and I'm just gonna do bun install paddle.js. So this is the client side library which will open the modal for payment basically. So yeah, let's do bun dev, and yeah, now what we want to do is, first of all, we want to configure regular payments. Let's work on the regular payments first. So how do we do that? What do I mean by regular payments? By regular payments, I mean that we make the products here and we make the payments inside our application. So how do we do that? So first of all, let's just create a new product. Don't worry, if you're looking for the part where we dynamically set the price in our Next.js application, we are going to do that, but keep patience. Or you can just go to the slider down there and just go to the timestamp if you know what you're doing already. So yeah, we're just going to name it test product and test description. You can choose tax category, standard digital goods, and product icon URL. Yeah, makes sense. I'm gonna just save. Yeah, now just creating a product will not do it. You actually need to have a price to it. So let's create a new price. You can have multiple prices to a single product. Let's just keep it to 30 USD right now. You can actually change the pricing here. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it to USD because I know many of my viewers are also from the United States. I just don't want to keep it to INR, but if you're Indian, you can also keep it to INR. And this is a test sandbox, like do whatever you want. Nobody cares. And tax, I mean, yeah, account default including tax. Now you can set it as a recurring or a one time. We are going to look at both of them right now, but it's pretty much easy. It's really, you don't need to do a lot of different things. We are just going to keep it to one time right now, and I'm going to keep it as price. Okay, so price name, test price. I think I should name it as standard price because this is the non-discounted price. And now yeah, perfect. I think I should keep it to 20 instead. Yeah, now I'm just gonna save this. Now we have a price ID, and this is going to be pretty useful for us. So how do we initiate a payment? So let's go here, and since we just installed a client-sided library, and we need to actually create a client component that uses that. And many of you might already know that Next.js now uses React server components, which means that you cannot simply just run client-side stuff into a server component. So by default, this page right here is a server component. And while you can typically just convert this to a client component, I want to make sure that we are using a better way here. So if you're using Vite, just feel free to just plug in the paddle code anywhere you want and it will just work. But for the Next.js audience, I just want to make sure that we are sticking to the principles of Next.js and React server components as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder called as components, and this is going to be a folder where we are going to store our client components. So here we are going to call it as payment.tsx, and here we are going to just save our client component. So first of all, we are going to say use client. So this makes it a client component, and now we are going to do RFC. We can just remove this, we don't need this. Payment. Yeah, now we have a client components. So yeah, so one more thing to note, for this tutorial I could just do use client here, it won't really matter, but I just wanted to make sure that you do this, because if you embed a server client inside a client component, it's a mess. You don't do it. So yeah, now let's go ahead and actually make this work. So first of all, what we need to do, we also have the price ID. So first of all, we need to go to the developer tools here. We need to go to authentication. We definitely need the API key, but we need that later. First of all, we need a client side token. We can just say client token, and yeah, generate. Now I'm going to show this token here, but I am going to actually make sure that I remove these before the video gets published, so you cannot abuse it. .env.local, and I'm just gonna say next public, not Stripe, paddle client. Is that client key? Client token. Yeah, I'm also gonna create one for paddle secret token, which we are going to fill in later, but for now I think this is fine. And now in the client component, what we are going to do is we are going to leave this div here right now, but first of all we are going to initialize paddle. So unlike any other payment provider, like not a payment provider like in typical React sense, we do not have a provider here. We need to actually initialize this in our own way. So how do we do that? First of all, we need to create an use effect, which is going to run a function only once. That's and now we are going to have initialize paddle, and in initialize paddle you're going to pass in a few things. First of all, the environment. Here make sure you use sandbox because we're just testing. If you're using it in live, you just put in the other one, I think it was production. But make sure like you have an environment variable that determines this. So or you can just use the default environment variable for that, but make sure you change this to live. So token process.env.next public client side token. Next public paddle client token, is that right? Thank you so much, cursor. And now we actually want to store this instance in a state, so we are going to create a new state. Instead of this any, we are just going to add paddle here, and we are actually going to remove the null so that we do not have to provide null here. So now after this we need to actually just do then, and when we get the paddle instance is ready, we are just going to set it to the state. So this is actually pretty interesting. It suggested me code, but it was a wrong code. So const handle checkout, and here this is going to be a function which actually first of all checks if the paddle instance is there or not, and if it's not there, we are gonna actually alert paddle is not initialized. And now we can simply do something like paddle.checkout.open, and here first of all we are gonna have items here. So items, first of all we are gonna leave it empty for now, but let's look at settings now. There's also settings object here, and here first of all display mode is overlay and inline. In this video we're going to cover overlay. If you want to explore inline, you can do that. Then we need to pass in the theme. I don't like light mode, so I'm just going to pass in dark here. And now success URL. When the payment is successful, where do you want to go? So I'm just going to say http localhost 3000 success. I will say that cursor is definitely not giving me good suggestions for this. Half of them were wrong when I was first testing it, so make sure you don't rely on AI that much when you are like working with paddle, at least for now. Like later they might get better at it. So in items we actually need to create objects here. You can have multiple items because it's an array, so you can have a price ID, which we need to get from there, of course. So let's go to products, and let's get inside the product, and let's just get this price ID and paste it here. And you also need to provide a quantity. I'm just going to provide 1, and let's see what happens. Now to make sure we trigger this one, we actually need to have a button. Button on click handle checkout, proceed to payment. And I think I'm just gonna give it a little bit of class. Like whatever, who cares. So in page.tsx we actually gonna have this client component. So remember that this page.tsx is a server side component, server side page. You can embed a client side component inside a server side page. So now here I'm just gonna have some margin here, so my10, and now div h1 standard payment And now we're gonna have the payment component should be actually here. So let's import this, and let's just say, oops, I'm just gonna say class name my10, and I think here I'm just gonna say MB5, I think so. I'm sorry if I'm wasting a lot of time in styles, to be honest. Okay, I think everything should work. Yeah, now everything should work. Let's go back. Let's go to localhost 3000 for the first time ever. And let's see what we have here. Okay, so now we have a standard payment and we have a proceed to payment button. If we click that, we should see a paddle screen and we should see an error. What is the error? Please try again. If the issue persists, you can contact our support team. So many people will just leave this right here and would try to ask support or something, but what developers should do is like just go to the network tab and see what's wrong. So please go to network tab, and I'm gonna refresh this page. I'm gonna keep it to fetch XHR and just proceed to payment. It says 400. So what's wrong? It says, okay, preview. It says transaction default checkout URL not set. So here in this one, if we go to checkout, in checkout settings, there's actually a URL you need to set here. Actually, I will also enable Google Pay while we are at it. Default payment link, you need to actually make sure you add a payment link here. So I'm just gonna say HTTP localhost 3000. Yeah, and I'm just gonna save this, and now I think this should be working. So checkout settings saved. Let's go reload. Proceed to payment. Yeah, perfect. So I can just now go ahead and say hey at atharva.codes and just 00000 and next. And now you can just enter things here. You can actually have quantity here. I'm pretty sure you can cap that in there, but yeah, view testing instructions. Now you can get card details here. So valid card without 3D secure. So if you don't know 3D secure, it opens a model to confirm. So basically it sends you an OTP on your mobile phone, registered mobile phone, to see if you're really making the transaction. Many cards in the US do not have 3DS. I don't know, they might have something else, not really sure. But in India, a lot of cards have 3DS. So we can try this one. So valid card with 3DS. Let's go here, paste this and just add anything. If you don't use a card with 3DS, the payment will just going to be successful. You don't need to worry about anything. So just use a successful one there. So yeah. And now CVV should be 100 for this one. And now we can just do pay $20. No, I want to save this. It says complete. It should be done anytime. Yeah, now it goes to success, but yeah, we do not have the page, so it's not loading. We are not going to create the page in this tutorial anyways. So yeah, one more thing I really wanted to show you, that how we got the amount in dollars. There is a way to actually convert that to the local currency. So if you go to the currencies section here, by the way, you can see the updated balance here right now. You can actually see the balance currency here. Don't change that. Like if you want to, you can show, but which currencies do you want to automatically convert prices into? Having active currencies means that we can automatically convert prices into your customer's local currency, increasing conversion rates. So manage, and you can just select all. Like if you want to do this, of course, that is, I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to click on save. And now if we go back and proceed to payment, we will see this in rupees. So that's cool. And if you change the country, I think it should be, yeah, it's not. So I think it's based on my really like location. So, like VPN. Okay, network. I think VPN slipped out of my mouth. It must be based on my network. So yeah. So yeah, that's it, how it works. And now, remember how I was talking about subscriptions, and I don't really want to use a lot of time in this video on subscription because it's way too easy. So if we go back to the dashboard and go to the catalog products, and let's edit the price here, and we can just set this to recurring and just set it to monthly, and yeah, we can just save this, as simple as that. And now if we go back and of course cross this and proceed to payment again, you can see that it says the amount and then 1733 INR monthly starting from this date. So yeah, basically it's pretty easy to do subscription, easier than I thought, to be honest. So yeah, we are just gonna keep it to one time again. You can change this if you want to, like as per your needs, but this is how you can do the standard type of payments where you provide products into the Paddle dashboard and do it. Now we are gonna do on-demand product generation, or basically on-demand payments. So yeah, let's get into that. Okay, so now if you go to the API reference, you can see a lot of different things here. Like if you go to the transaction section here, so let me find where is transaction. I cannot see. Yeah, transactions, you can create a transaction, which is a post request, where you can like provide the items here and they have a price ID. And you might be thinking like, we want this to be dynamic. We cannot just provide a price ID, you know, and I understand you. And there is a way to actually make this work dynamically, which is, yeah, they actually support this. So non-catalog price for an existing product, non-catalog price and product. So we are going to focus on the non-catalog price and product. So you can just open the price object and have all these different things here. Even the support for subscriptions, you have the product name, the pricing. Where is the pricing? Hold on. Unit price. Yeah, we can pass in the amount and just the currency code. So yeah, that is what you can do. So we are going to do this, but the issue is that we need to send HTTP requests, and when you're using a client-sided library for Paddle, you might be thinking there might be actually a server-side library as well, right? It took me a little time to find out, but like there is one. So if we go to Paddle Node SDK, you will find, oh, they have a page for this. So if you go here, this is the first time I'm saying this, to be honest. Oh, they have, okay. So if we can just go to, they have mentioned it. Okay. So this is the Paddle Node SDK, and don't download from any unofficial one, please just download the official one. So we need to install this, and the way to initialize this, it is like just do new Paddle and just provide the environment here, and then you can just perform whatever function in the API is. Like they have every single API call as a function inside this SDK, so it makes it easier for you to like, and it also have like type safety, so you don't need to have to deal with API calls. So yeah, let's go ahead and install this. So I'm just going to copy this. Of course we are not going to use npm, so let's open our terminal, kill the server for now, clear, bun, add, and yeah, and now bun dev. Now we will go ahead and first of all we will create the route which actually create the transaction. So let's go ahead and create a new folder, API/payments, and API/payment, and here in this folder we are going to create a new route.ts file. And first of all we are going to initialize Paddle. So const Paddle is equal to new Paddle, and here we need to actually first of all have the private token. So let's go ahead and get a private token from authentication, API keys. So I'm just going to copy this and just paste it here. And now here we are just gonna first of all have processed paddle.env secret token. Remember that this is an API route, so we can actually access this environment variable. If you try to use this in a client side component, this really won't work. So yeah, typically this would just work, but we actually need to provide the environment as well. So yeah, so unlike from client side, you cannot just add sandbox here. We actually need to import environment, and now environment.sandbox, and now this should do. And now we need to actually create the route handler. So export async function get. Actually we need get. This should be just request, to be honest. And now we can simply just create a new transaction. You can do a lot of different things, like see what the user has sent through the data, or like check through the database, like what the user is typically doing with their account, and depending on that you can set prices. But we are just going to keep it plain and simple here. So we are just going to create a 30 USD product here. So not really product, 30 USD transaction. So now we are just going to do const txn, which means transaction await paddle dot transactions dot create. And now we're gonna have, first of all, items, and I think items is the only thing we have. Everything here is going to be dynamic. So you see cursor suggesting us the price ID, which definitely is not something we want. So first of all, we are gonna have the product itself. Oops, something seems to be wrong. Oh yeah, first of all we need to have the quantity. So quantity should be 1. And now we need to have the price. So remember, before we used to do price ID, now we just do price, and this is supposed to be an object. And now we can simply have different things. So first of all, the name of the price is, I'm just gonna make it dynamically generated price. And now we need to actually have a description too. So dynamically generated description. Same for product. Let's remove unit price for now. Name, description, and now we can, we need to add unit price as well. This should be an object, which is basically the currency code should be USD and amount should be 3000, except this should be string. So basically 3000 means it should be $30. So I think it's based on cents, so that's why it is like this. And now in product we have dynamically generated product and stuff. Tax category is very important, because like if you have something else, so if you have digital goods or something, it really won't work. Oh, so they basically also have a taxed category thing here. So yeah, but I think we should just stick with this. I'm just going to keep it to digital goods for now and show you what the error is. Okay, you know what, let's just keep it to standard right now. I want to show you in the settings how you can edit this. Let's go here, and there should be something here in checkout settings, I think so. Oops, I don't think there is something here, but in I think sales tax settings. Oops. Yeah, taxable categories here, and here you can have like get approval for different categories. You don't need to get any approval, like it's pretty instant because it's a sandbox environment, so it just approves by default. You don't need to worry about getting approval in sandbox environment. So I can simply just go ahead and use SaaS here without any problems. Otherwise it will just throw an error when I try to do the payment. So yeah, and now I think this is done. And now what we need to do after this is just do, first of all, we are just going to console log the transaction, and then we are just going to do next return next response dot json transaction dot id. We're just going to pass the transaction ID for now, and in the client side we can actually make this transaction work. So here what we are doing in this API route is we are creating a transaction. We are actually not charging the user just yet. The charging of the user part will come at the client, because the card details need to be entered by the client, so it needs to be on the client component, you see. So now let's go create a new component. I'm going to call it dynamic payment.tsx. A lot of different things will be same here, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. I am doing this twice, and my explanation is like because I don't want to have a client component wrapping the entire app, and I think that's a very valid reason. You really do not need to initialize it this a lot of different places, but you do you. I'm just gonna keep this 2 places, it doesn't really matter. And now here what we're gonna do, instead of just doing all of this, we actually need to go ahead and make an API call. So first of all, const response is equal to await fetch payment. This needs to be an async function. And now after we need to get the data, and here paddle.checkout.open, we can just remove every single thing here. And now since we already have the transaction ID inside this data, we can simply just do transaction ID data.txn.id, and that is it. Now this will just look up the transaction ID and it will just resume the payment from here, and it will just ask the user to enter the card details and stuff. So if we go back and if we just we actually need to add this dynamic payment feature to here. So let's just copy this. Okay, thank you so much cursor. Nah man, don't be like that. Okay, perfect. Let's go back, reload. Yeah, now we have dynamic payment. Remember, so in dynamic payment we actually had 30 USD. So okay, where is the payment.tsx file? Yeah, we had 30 USD, so it should, okay, there's something really wrong with me. 30 USD. So now let's click on proceed to payment and let's see what happens. Something went wrong. Interesting. Let's see what went wrong. So yeah, this is what lack of type safety does to you. So basically we just if we go back here, we send transaction ID as txn only, and cursor suggested .id in front of it. So yeah, this is daily reminder to not rely on AI a lot of different times. Yeah, I think we can have this. We don't really need it. I think so. We can just remove the display mode. I think it's the default one anyways. We need to have the success URL technically, and theme dark because I just cannot stand light mode. So I can just simply just cross this, reload. I'm gonna remove this now. I just dynamic payment, and yeah, it's work. It's basically $30. If you don't know, it's basically $30 in Indian rupees. Now this will just simply work if I try to do it. Where are the cards? Let's just try without 3ds one. Oh, it's basically the Stripe one. Yeah, so basically they are built on Stripe anyways, so it's the test cards are pretty similar. So yeah, nope, it's not my card. Don't save it. Yeah, success. It's on the success URL. So perfect. That is working. Now I just wanted to show you how to make this a subscription. This is also pretty easy. So I'm not going to create a completely new route and show you how to make this a subscription. Since this is very easy, I'm just going to write this down in the code and I'm just going to comment it out. And if you are cloning this repository to try it out, you can just uncomment the code and it will just work as a subscription. This has to be the best subscription experience, creating experience I have ever had with any payment provider. I think Paddle is pretty good at all of this. So let's go ahead and go to our route. This is where we decide our prices, of course. So now we can simply just go ahead and define our subscription thing. So now we can just say billing cycle. And now we need to provide 2 things. Yeah, interval month and frequency 1. So you can simply just remove the interval and just have day, month, week, year. So I want every month the subscription to be renewed. So yeah, again, now just save this and just go back and just do this again. Now it says 2599, then 2599 monthly starting 14th February 2025. So yeah, that is it. That is the subscription. So typically I would end the video right now, but there's one more thing I wanted to show you is webhooks. You did all the payments, right? But how do you keep track? Of course, you can just when you go to the success URL, you can basically make a call to the server and check if the payment is done. But I don't think that is really efficient, because a lot of the times not a lot of the time, but sometimes people really skip that part. Like people just close out the app and never go. Like sometimes the success URL just never happens, So I think webhooks are the best way to keep your server updated that, hey, this payment is completed, hey, this person created a new subscription and stuff. So yeah, you can basically set up a webhook. So first of all, what we need to do is, because we are on development environment, we actually need to open a new tunnel, which basically exposes a localhost to the internet temporarily. And if you're using a production website or you just deployed your website, you might already have a link to your website, and that's cool. You don't need to do these steps, but since we are doing a development environment, we actually need to do it. So I'm just going to open a new tab, and now here we are going to do ngrok. So make sure you have ngrok installed, ngrok http and 3000, because we are trying to serve the 3000 port to the internet. So yeah, now we have the website here. We can just copy this. So basically, if you just theoretically, if you just go to this link, you can see your app. Yeah. So this is your localhost technically, but it is served through a tunnel to a real website. So your basically port 3000 is exposed to the internet. So now why did we do that? We did that because now we can simply create a new webhook route, and we can get all the events that are happening from Paddle. So if we go to Paddle dashboard, we can simply go to webhooks somewhere. Yeah, they are called notifications here. And now we can simply add a new destination. We're gonna add like standard web. Okay, just webhook, I think. Notification type webhook, of course. URL should be this /API/webhook. We need to actually create an API route to catch these events. So API version is 1. We cannot really do platform and simulation. I'll keep it to platform and simulation because because we can actually simulate from here. So I think the events that we need is subscription.activated, transaction.paid, subscription.cancelled, subscription.updated, transaction.payment failed, I think so. Yeah, I think those are, customer.created. We will talk about customers in a brief later. We are not going to try it out, but yeah, let's just save this destination for now. And now if we click this again, like we will have this destination right now. If we click this again, so we need to actually edit the destination. Now we will get a secret key, so we can just copy this and we can go back here and we can say webhook secret key, and we paste this here. Perfect. And now what we can do is we can actually create the new folder here called webhook, and now we can create a new route.ts file. Perfect. And now we can simply say export. Yeah, this should be post, and I'm gonna remove this. We're gonna actually copy some stuff here. We will get this from here and we will paste this above the file. We need to import everything. And now what I want to do is we are not going to keep writing the code when we already have it available. So if we go down back here in the Paddle node SDK GitHub repository, you will find the code. This is written in Express, but you can simply just copy this. You can simply just copy this and paste it here inside this. So a lot of things will break. So like for this, you actually need to do it in the Next.js way. So get Paddle signature, and here you need to actually do await request.text, or else you can do this. And now we actually need to remove this, and we just to have dot here. And we just need to import everything else, and here we can just do rest dot next response .json, and we can just say okay, true. We just copied the code and changed it to like how it works. And here we need to like change the events. Like it says it is switching between events. So basically this is where you will do database operations and you will provision your users with stuff purchased. So if they purchase a subscription, you will make sure that you change the database records here that hey, this user is a pro user now. So yeah, you get the point. So user has done the payment, now it's time for you to deliver. So yeah, now here we can just say subscription created, subscription activated, and subscription cancelled. Subscription cancelled, and we also need for a payment paid. Payment, I think it was transaction paid. So yeah, thank you GitHub Copilot, GitHub Cursor. Okay, now this is done. What we could do is simply go back and we could simply just simulate a request. So we can just go ahead and do a new simulation. I tried the scenario one, which like has 13 events in once, but I think it was erroring out. I think it was about some limits from ngrok. Not really sure what's the deal with there, but individual events work. So if I just send a subscription activated one, I actually need to name it. I'm just gonna just test sim. Yeah, please do not take a lot of time. Now I'm gonna run this simulation, and if this works, we are gonna see that in our terminal. So let's go back to our terminal. Let's go back to our Next.js app. Okay, it says subscription was activated, but no response is written from route handler. Okay, there is something wrong here. There needs to be a response here. I think we already have a response. Why? I think yeah, we were missing the return. I think that was the problem. I'm gonna send it again. Replay event. This is 500 again. That is interesting. So the webhook failed. Yeah, I think I spoke too soon because it just says that it's 200. Like, I think I spoke too soon. So if I just replay it again, I think it was just slow and I just read the previous one. Yeah, it says it was activated, and yeah, it says 200. So yeah, it is working. In fact, it is working. So now if we just go back here and just try to do again. So if I just do standard payment, I just need to copy the photo card and just do it again. Yeah, whatever, and just add it. Let's try to do this. Yeah, payment successful. Let's go back to our terminal. Yeah, transaction, this was paid. Now we can just go back to our subscriptions and we can try our subscription. So let's wait for this. Yeah, the same details. Continue. Gonna add this. No thanks. Now this should be done as well. Now we can go back to our terminal. Where is the webhook? Is this it? Yeah, it says subscription was activated. Perfect. Yeah, it takes a little time, but yeah, it gets it done. So this was basically, I think, some other transaction event. So yeah, it says that there was a new draft transaction. So we have a catch block in this. So if like it's none from these, it just console logs the event out. But yeah, the desired events are now coming in, so it's like a little late, but yeah, it's understandable. So yeah, that's how Paddle works. There is one more thing before I forget I want to show you is customers. If you go to build, I think here they have a customers. Where is customers? Is that in concepts? Customer portal? Nope. So basically they had this thing where they used to like create customers. So like whenever you create a new customer in your, like whenever you have a new user, you create a new customer for them in the Paddle, and you can have a feature where there is basically a retain feature where you can just pass in the customer, and if they failed a payment, they will be asked to do it again, and you might retain that customer. It's for only live versions. It's not for sandbox, so I don't really know how it works. I might just search retain. Yeah, it's definitely not helpful. Yeah, integrates with retain. Yeah, it's basically like this. Yeah. Oof, okay, where can I find? Yeah, I cannot seem to find it. Oh yeah, I think this is it. So Paddle.js integrates with retain, so you don't have to include a separate retain script in your file. So client-side tokens for live accounts authenticate with Paddle billing and Paddle retain, so there's no need to pass separate key. To use retain, you pass PW customers for logged in customers. So basically whenever a user logs into your website, you just pass in the customer ID for them to retain, and it is only for live accounts. So basically what happens is like whenever they fail a payment or something happens, and whenever Paddle thinks that it is a great idea to plug your product again, they will, and it will actually help you reduce failure rates for your payment, or like people who like move away and don't actually like go through the payment, they will be like given a chance to do it again or something like that. So yeah, that was it for Paddle. This is the most important thing I wanted to share you. If you're like using it, make sure you also integrate the customer feature. It might help you along the way. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something new and got some value from this video on how you can use Paddle in Next.js applications and how you can collect payments from it. So yeah, I think Paddle is pretty interesting. I think it's one of the most easiest payment platforms I've ever used and ever made a tutorial for. And since it was very easy, I could cover a lot of different things in this tutorial, like even creating subscriptions and stuff. And yeah, like I really like Paddle, and I really hope to use it in one of my side projects in the near future, probably in a video where I create a project and integrate Paddle for payments. So let's see how that happens. So if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for the content, make sure you leave that in the comments down below, so that I stay up to date with like what are the content types you need, like what are the things you want to see on the channel. So yeah, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please support the channel. The goal is to reach 6,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. Let's make this happen. I'm not really sure if I can do this, but let's see. So yeah, that's it for this video. I really hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.